Welcome on back, everybody, to episode 120 of Stream with the Mouse, where today we are talking about the brand new Disney Pixar film that has been released on Disney Plus called Turning Red. Excited to have this conversation with my friend Cliff. Sit back, relax, it's Stream with the Mouse. Welcome on back, everybody, to episode 120 of Stream with the Mouse. I'm joined by my co-pilot, my co-host Cliff. Cliff, say hello to nice people.
I didn't even get a comparison this week.
I forgot the girl's
I don't
name.
know I don't remember
Mei.
them. I don't remember the characters' names. If we're being 100%
The Abby
honest.
to my Mei. She was the funny one.
Is Abby the one that was the redhead?
No, she was the one that
Was she the little feral
Korean?
The little feral child.
Sure.
I think she ate a dodgeball.
Yes.
That's feral. That is feral behavior. I loved her. That was feral behavior.
Fair.
I am very excited to talk about this. It was weird in all the good ways.
Yeah, it was an interesting movie. I liked it though.
And I was like talking, Courtney and I watched it last night, and I was like, you know what? I'm like, if you really think about it, like, most of these stories that put across these types of like messages are in Pixar especially are usually done with animals or inanimate objects.
Right.
So like The Incredibles, it's a very different type of storytelling than what this is. Like usually like the everyday life aspect of Pixar has like everyone's cars.
Right.
Everyone's a fish. Stuff like that. So like that I think for a lot of people the hardest thing to get over. But once you really got into it, I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
it was really good. And we'll talk about it. We'll do our top 5 of things we liked about the movie, kind of like what we've done in the past. Not a full recap. So hopefully, if you haven't listened to Turning Red yet, you might want to shut off this podcast. But before we get to that, Cliff has some news. So Cliff, go for it.
Yes, just a couple things. The first one is everyone say Disney owes an apology to Lizzie McGuire, as Disney has now officially implemented a TV, whatever it is. I spent like 10 minutes last night fiddling with it because I didn't remember my Disney Plus password, so I had to reset it and all this. You can have things that are above TV 14 or whatever the heck they decided Daredevil and all those shows are. You been watching any of them yet? You started any of them?
I'm probably going to start Daredevil probably this weekend just because I haven't watched it in a little bit and I love that show. So
nice, very nice. The other thing... and this is definitely, they're trying to catch the second wind. Disney is about to release the Encanto sing-along version.
It came out today, I think.
Even though, at this point, I would say everyone knows all of the lyrics.
Yes.
Did you see the news that Stephanie Beatriz said how she started labor as she was singing Waiting on a Miracle?
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. Wild. And... I was like, oh my god. And I just want to see if I can pull this up quickly. They officially came out with a Kenobi, what's it called? They do, okay.
We did that.
We have the trailer. Oh, we got a Miss Marvel trailer. Looks good.
June 8th release date.
I'm a little sad about the powers, except I saw someone say it would actually be really kind of funny. The best way that these powers could be is they look very superhero-y and all this, but they end up molding into her OG powers. Like, she wants to look like the superhero. She wants to be this. And
I hope we see her like really embiggen, because that was the trailer was great. I'm excited. June 8th release date. It's a lot sooner than I thought we were actually going to get it. So very excited for it, but upset about her powers a little bit.
But we will wait and see.
Liberty,
she looks like a great Kamala.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
which I'm very excited.
Seems like it's a fun cast too. So,
and the last thing, this morning, Disney Plus updated the Obi-Wan Kenobi stuff, and we have an official overarching plot detail or plot synopsis. During the reign of the Galactic Empire, former Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi embarks on a crucial mission. Kenobi must confront allies turned enemies and face the wrath of the Empire. Does that mean Commander Cody?
I hope so.
I hope so. There's been a lot of speculation, and people thought they've seen Tamora on set.
Yeah.
I think that would be great, because I do feel kind of robbed we didn't get Cody versus Rex showdown in Rebels. I get it. It wasn't Rex's show at all. But I wish
Yeah,
a man can dream. A man
yeah,
can dream.
for sure.
But I think it's time. We got to talk about turning. Are you wearing red today? Are you
I am
doing that
wearing
on?
red.
Are
It's
you
a
doing that
Flash
on
shirt.
purpose?
That's DC/HBO Max.
Betrayal.
Yeah, it is what it is. I got my Mickey Mouse golf hat here though, so I'll wear that for this one.
There.
All right, Cliff. Top 5 of what we liked about Turning Red. I'll start off with you. You're number 5.
My number 5. This could honestly be number 1, but I want to give a shout out to the best character in the entire movie, and
Okay.
by that I mean the father.
I love the father.
The father was the best character by far. He knew how to handle, like, he could handle the wife. He was very accepting of his daughter. He enjoyed his food. And then even funnier,
Jin, I believe is his name.
yes, and then even funnier at the end, he had an end credit scene. He had an end credit.
I did not see that.
He had an end credit scene where he is hiding in the basement with headphones on, jamming to the boy band and dancing
That's
to it. Hilarious.
and I'm
It
mad
was
I didn't watch
great. It was hilarious. And that's, I wanted to start off. I just thought he was such a good character. I saw, like, that was like the one spoiler I saw. I was like, this is like the unsung hero of the whole movie.
That's hilarious.
So it was fun to see. I really
I'm gonna have
appreciated
to
the
go watch
dad.
that today.
I was looking at it and I'm like, oh, this ended. I'm like, why is there 15 minutes of
Awesome.
credits? And I'm like,
That's
I know
cool.
Pixar does like at least like 8 to 10, but I'm like, 15 seems a little. I start to like fast forward through it. I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe we
That's
have
so
a post credit scene.
That's awesome. My number 5 is the vibe. I loved the early 2000s vibe in this movie, especially I'm a kid of the 90s. I was born in 95. May is 13 in this, and it was taking place, I think they even said in 2002. I was 7 in 2002, but like a lot of the stuff really resonated to me. The Tamagotchis, the boy bands, NSYNC and Backstreet Boys were all the rage back in that day. So very, very funny. I love the whole vibe, and I thought it was cool that they like explicitly said the year. I feel like we don't really get that much in Pixar, at least. So that was pretty cool to see. Like, hey, this takes place in 2002, which is also like such a random year. I feel like to pick, but I also like that they picked that a lot. So that's my number 5. Was the early, just the vibe of like Toronto looked pretty cool and just really cool stuff. I liked it. I like the vibe.
I know it's really cool to see these made up fantasy places just like Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was very happy with the time period.
Yeah.
It's a period piece at this point.
Jesus.
I liked it. It was fun. The boy band, even though yes, it was like NSYNC and all that. It really, to me though, really resonated even more with One Direction.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
like
I get that.
I mean, like you said, you were 7 and I was 6, and this year we didn't get that hype. Like, that was not the music we were listening.
But my friends were getting that hyped with that stuff.
Right, but were they getting hyped with that stuff? Like, if you were to compare that to One Direction, what was more insane?
The best comparison for me, my age, I know it would be Jonas Brothers. Like that.
Okay,
That would be
that's also a good one.
Probably when I was in middle school, so like that would be my comparison. Would be Jonas Brothers. But One Direction would be yes as well, because I feel like One Direction was like when we were in college, but like middle school and stuff like that. That was like peak Jonas Brothers, and I had a sister who was obsessed with Jonas Brothers, so that was like what that reminded me of. It like reminded me a lot of like my sister and her friends, but like in America, not Canada.
They're pretty similar.
I know.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest here. Yeah, I enjoyed the time. I'll use the time as my number 4. I just liked seeing the era because it's kind of like between like we had those not smartphones. We had those cell phones like that. Like even though we were several years younger, we were off by like 5 years. That's still very much how we grew up.
Mm-hmm.
Like this was before the internet. Well, that sounds so weird. It was before the internet was like in the palm of our hands. Like we had to text on these little like. I mean, did you see what the name of the cell phone was?
I didn't see it.
It was, I believe, it was a Jokia.
Nice.
It was a J instead of an N.
Awesome.
But I remember having my little flip phone.
Yeah,
and going over my texting limit and all that. But it was very much like it was fun seeing like, oh, this is kind of how we were. This is how like ridiculous we were.
Yeah, for sure. Especially those Tamagotchi. Like Tamagotchi was huge in elementary school.
I didn't have a Tamagotchi.
I didn't have one either, but
I did have a Nintendog though.
I also had a Nintendog, and I was very upset one day when I forgot to feed my Nintendog. All right, so that was your
That was my
four?
4, so it's
Okay,
your
so
4
my number
now.
4. I thought it was very different. I liked that it was very different. So like it felt very unique storytelling. I thought the topics discussed was cool. Like I've never seen a Disney movie talk about periods before, and I think this would be like a really cool movie to like show like young girls whose like bodies are changing and stuff like that. That because I don't know, it just didn't seem very Disney or Pixar, and I like that. Like this is a cool like coming of age growing movie with taboo kind of ish topics that shouldn't really be that taboo because it just that's how people grow up. So I thought it was pretty cool, but also very funny. Um, and I liked the over the top animation style sometimes, like the giant tears sometimes. The fact that they were breaking the
It was
fourth
the
wall all
anime
the time.
tears.
Yeah, that was like cool. I feel like I don't think I've ever seen a movie in Pixar break the fourth wall, so like that was awesome. I like that as well. But just overall, I liked how different it felt, and I liked the topics it discussed, like bodies changing and whatever, and hormones, and like all of a sudden liking boys, and I thought that was really interesting and a really cool message to be like, yeah, we're Disney, we're Pixar, we're cool, we're gonna talk about this stuff.
Yeah, this was actually my number 3. This is working
There we
well.
go.
This is going well. I mean, there's only
Yeah,
so many. This is the overarching thing. The whole point of the panda was puberty.
right.
The panda was a metaphor. It's not like this insane concept of it, but the use of this to get the point across is important. Let's not just talk about it from a girl's perspective, which
Right.
is important, but for like a boy learning about that, it's so taboo and like a gross thing. I feel like that's like how they try to instill it by not talking about it. So
Yeah.
actually having to answer these questions and talk about these questions is such an easy thing because it's Disney.
Right.
You can't cancel Disney.
Right.
I mean, you can. You're just gonna be really bored if you cancel Disney Plus. The reach they have at this point, it's not even like good on them for doing it. It's good you're supposed to be doing this. If you have this reach, you are supposed to be getting these messages and getting these points across, and I'm glad they're doing that.
Yeah.
I know, and we're not gonna get political, but I like with the whole issues of the Florida gay bill that was going on in Chapek dragging his feet for so long. Supposedly, because of that bill, they took out like a same-sex kiss in the upcoming Lightyear movie. But because of this, and how many people spoke out, they actually put it back in. And this is the thing where they shouldn't be scared. At this point, you're not going to hurt the profits of
Right.
Disney. Tell the stories. Tell the truth.
Yeah.
And let
Make stories
people
that are real life.
make them realistic. And that's what Turning Red to me was a very good. I mean, obviously there's a giant freaking red panda running around
For sure,
but what it actually means is such a nice story. And I'm like, after it is an awkward beginning. You're watching, you're like, what am I watching? And then like once the panda comes out, you're like, this is great. This is weird, fun, and gets a message across.
Definitely a cool metaphor. Like a cool
way to do absolutely. It. Oh, an incredible way to do it.
Yeah.
That was my 3, so that's all on you now.
No worries. My number 3 is I loved May's friends. I thought they were so realistic. So her friends, we got Ming Li, Miriam, and Abby. And I just thought, oh wait, oh no, Ming Li is the mom. I'm lying. Priya is the other one. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were awesome. They like felt like it reminded me a lot of like how awkward I was in middle school. It reminded me how awkward my sister was in middle school. My friends were. So I thought they were very true and in themselves. And they thought, like, at some points they probably thought they were hotshots, like when they were selling all those merchandise of the red panda and stuff like that. And it's just funny, like when you are that young, like the world is your oyster, and I really like that. Like I remember things like trying to convince my parents, can I please buy a ticket, go to see this concert, please, 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 please. Yeah, it's a lot of money, but please, please, can we do that? So it was funny. It was very cool, and I feel like this is an age group that like, do we see it in Disney? For sure. But they don't act like normal kids. Every kid, including May and her friends, acted like what I would perceive as normal teenage kid behavior. Not even just girls, just teenage behavior. I thought it was funny.
Yes, it was. And this is an interesting story because like I am a white man. That is
Mhm.
not that
Same.
is I mean unless you were very shocked, unless you have not watched any YouTube videos or any social media and you were shocked right now. A lot of times I relate to characters.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It's not hard for
No.
me because that's what Hollywood is. This was the first movie in a long time I didn't relate to anyone. And you get the people on Twitter and everything that are like, "Oh my god, this was awful because I didn't relate to anyone." I liked it because of that. I liked just being able to watch it and like learn a new perspective from it. It was fun.
But I still think I was able to relate to some stuff, like the
Oh no,
awkwardness
I
of
know. Like
that. Yeah. So
I
but there are aspects
personally,
I didn't
I
get, which is cool.
personally I did not
Yeah.
because I was not in the boy band like fate. Like some because and some people were at the time.
Right. For sure.
But to me, I was just like, nope. But it's still cool.
Yeah.
But it's still all this.
Yeah.
And that'll be my number two. Is
Oh,
the
jeez. Okay, Cliff.
I mean, if that's what we're doing, that's what it is. Where it was nice not to relate because
Yeah.
it lets you actually see it from a different perspective.
Yeah, for sure. My number two then is, since that was your number two,
I know.
is Malin and her dad. So mostly her dad. I loved when her dad found that camera recorder of her and her friends goofing around and her turning into Panda and doing like the Four Town song. I thought that was really funny. But then they had like that really nice father daughter moment where she's like, I'm sorry, like I'll delete it. And he's like, no, like this is like cool, like this is the real you. And I love the messaging with this movie is about being your true self, and this is May's true self, and that's obviously, besides puberty, that's also what the panda like represents, is like showing off your not great sides sometimes and not having to be perfect. So I really like that, but I especially loved, like I said, that conversation between May and her dad. They're sitting on the floor in her bedroom, and it was just a really nice moment because I feel like this was like a very big like mother focused story, obviously mother and daughter, and I feel like those, like Encanto, I don't think really touched on the dads that much, like here and there, but it was mostly about like Abuela and Maribel and stuff like that. But then the moms had bigger parts, so I thought it was cool that this was definitely a mother daughter kind of story. But then the dad does get some time to shine, and then he gets a post credit scene that I didn't even watch, so I need to watch that. So that's my number two.
Yeah, that is a good number two. I mean, you took my number five. I should have put the dad high.
Yeah, I was like, you can't take that as your number one, Clay.
I can't. I cannot take that as my number one. But no, the dad, like, they kind of took what the dad was in Encanto with and kind of just like added more to it.
Yeah,
Because you did see that Mirabel's father in Encanto was very supportive,
for sure.
and he also was very relatable to Mirabel because he did not have powers.
Right.
But my number one is the panda. Go
I
figure. Shocking. What I was even more shocked by was, and I definitely had a feeling halfway through that Malin was going to keep the panda. I'm
Yeah.
like, she can control it.
I thought all
It's
of them
part
were
of her.
Panda.
Oh, I knew the other ones wouldn't. I thought the mom might, but then you saw the size of it, and you're like, yeah, you probably can't
Yeah,
keep
it's
that.
tough.
Yeah, you probably can't keep that panda. But they were adorable.
Yeah.
I thought the whole action scene where they all like throw down their things and like they poof out into it is great.
Yeah.
And then especially with Ming's panda being put in a Tamagotchi at the end is also
Yeah.
really hilarious. But I just really liked the concept of it and like the history behind it, and like a big shout out to Dami Shi, who is the director and writer of this.
Yeah.
She was born in China. What people were really rude about her her short back in 2018. She was the one that created Bao. If you remember, that was attached.
I saw a little Easter
I
egg for that
loved
in this
it.
one.
I loved. Oh, yeah, well, there was a lot of those, but I liked that when it was attached to The Incredibles 2. I thought it was really cute. A lot of people didn't get it, and I think
Yeah.
this movie helps people get it a lot more because it was very similar tones just across the
Yeah.
entire movie. But yeah, the panda was just such a great idea, such a great concept for how to tell the story.
Right. My number one was so this is a little bit different than what I've done, but I love the last song, like when they're trying to help May's mom like get back to like herself instead of that giant panda. I love that they had like I think it's called like Pandas Unite is what the song is called. It's like that ritual song that like May listens to while her family chants it to her. when she's trying to separate herself from the panda. But I like that it was a combination of that with Nobody Like You, which was one of the Four Town songs. I thought it was cool that they had both representation. I figured something was going to happen with like doing the song, because especially with the shaman, I forget his name, but he basically says like, "Oh, it doesn't matter what song you sing.
Your grandmother's
Like,
just
your family likes this one.
Your
I like
grandmother's
this
just
one."
traditional.
So I assumed that there was gonna be something with like a Four Town song, but I like the way that they collaborated with it. And this is a huge shout out to my guy Ludwig. I always forget how to pronounce his last name, but Goranson, who does the music for Mandalorian. He did the score for this movie.
Really?
And he helped collaborate with that song, and like I like the meshing of it. And it was funny, like the aunts, the grandma, not the mom because she was knocked out, but the aunts and the grandma and the cousin were all singing that traditional song, and then Four Town and May and her friends were all singing the Four Town song. And I thought it was a really cool combination to bring that boy band with that traditional music in general too. I love the score in general. The score had like some kind of cool hip vibes, but also sounded very like ancient as well. So I thought that was very cool. So I love the score, love the music for it. Very fun.
Could you tell who the lead singer of Four Town was? He's very important to Disney. He sings the new "When You Wish Upon a Star" for is it Vision? What's the name of the Magic Kingdom fireworks show? What's the new one?
Jordan
Fisher was
the main.
Was Robert, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I thought that was funny.
What you were thinking of is Disney Enchantment is the new one.
Yes.
I think he also does Happily Ever After though as well.
He does. He does Happily Ever After. Courtney brought up a good point though, and she said, "Why is it called Four Town when there's 5 of them?"
They brought that up in the movie too.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, someone makes a joke about that.
But yeah, I really liked this movie.
Yeah,
I'm very happy with it. And now we're running out of things again to talk about, as we now have a week and a half until Moon Knight. But we still have...
I think that's going to be our next episode. Give ourselves a little time break before we get Moon Knight, because then we're going to have Moon Knight. We're going to have
Moon Knight and more
Kenobi.
Moon Knight.
Then we're going to have Kenobi. Then we're going to have all of a sudden we're going to have
Miss Marvel in June.
We're going to have Miss Marvel and Kenobi at the same time.
That is a good point.
Oh my god, it's finally happening. What am I going to watch first?
Well, there was a rumor. This might have no bearing at all. Someone said that they might start putting out the shows that come out Wednesday, 10 p.m. East Coast time the day before. So California.
Oh, my brain's still messed up right now.
So West Coast time, that gets it at midnight. Does that work? I don't know. I saw something about East Coast time maybe getting it at 10.
East Coast would be 9 o'clock.
So,
and then that would be midnight in California.
So that they might do 10 and 1.
I just want them to make like Marvel Fridays and Star Wars Wednesdays or something like that.
It would make a lot of sense.
I'm gonna have like just like regular network TV. Like you have like The Office used to be on Thursday nights, and whatever show NBC else did during that time would do on that night. You can tell how much like cable TV I actually watch. We're gonna have to figure that out, but whatever, it's fine. So we got some fun stuff coming up, so we're gonna give next week off. We'll come back with our first one of episode 1 recap of Moon Knight. Cliff, where can they find you? And I'm gonna give it to you. Where can they find you?
Oh, you're giving me everything. You can find me at CP Robinson.
I'll see if you can do it.
You can find me at CP Robinson81. You can find the podcast on Twitter at Stream the Mouse, on Instagram, Streaming with the Mouse, on Facebook, just type in Streaming with the Mouse and you'll find it. Our website, cprob.com/Stream the Mouse. I know Cam likes to do the thing where he goes, and you can find us on this podcast place and this podcast place. But if you're listening to us, you already have your place that you want to watch or listen to the podcast. So I won't do that one. And Cam, where can they find you?
You can find me at CamRamos95 on Twitter. Excited to talk about Turning Red. Definitely excited to talk about Moon Knight, Kenobi, Miss Marvel, all that good stuff. So thanks so much for listening, everybody. We'll see you in another week and a half or so. Take care and
have a magical day.
Yeah. There we go. That's what we're going to do. I almost said may the force be with you. So have a good day, everyone.
Bye, guys.